Hello, we're in another video for Mobile Sec Mondays where I solve mobile security challenges. And in this video, I'm going to solve IG Learner Challenge 3. So before we get started, let me explain the setup. So on the left-hand side, I have the Intro to Android Security version 2.1.0, which is the latest virtual machine. And this is, again, a virtual machine I created that has the common hacking tools for Android. And on the right is my Android x86 emulator. Now, when you're doing mobile hacking, you should have an actual physical device. But I'm using an Android emulator for participants or professionals that do not have a mobile device and want to still do mobile security. So inside of my Android x86 emulator, you will see that we currently have a terminal open, and I did ifconfig, which is a Linux term to get the network information. And I'm doing this because I need to write down my WLAN or wireless LAN IP address because I need to connect my Intro to Android Security virtual machine to my emulator. So let's do that now. Going to the Intro to Android Security, I'm going to go to Menu, type Terminal, and then from there, I'm going to use ADB, which is Android Debug Bridge, and I'm going to say connect and the IP address from the WLAN. So 192.168.192. And as you can see, connected. So now my Intro to Android Security virtual machine can talk to my Android x86 emulator and vice versa. So now, inside of our emulator, let's go to the 6 dots, and I'm going to click on Learner, which is the IG Learner app. And I'm going to make this bigger. And we're on lesson 3, which is URI handlers craziness. So if we click on this or double click, it opens, the challenge opens, and we see here we have a URI of IG Learner www.intrepidusgroup.com test me. And we have a request URI. So let's click that. And it says, click me, see what happens. So we click and we're locked. So for this challenge, we need to unlock the URI. So how are we going to do that? Well, we need to reverse engineer this app. Yes. So sorry, I didn't click the instructions. So here, I'm clicking the instructions, but I pretty much told what is happening. So let's see here. So if we click the instructions, in the web view that you see on the screen, we registered a handler for the URIs that start with IG Learner. A sample URI is shown in the box. Go ahead and push the submit button to generate a URI in the web view, and then click on the link to see what happens. The challenge will be completed if you manage to manipulate the URI in a way that would change the field below to unlock. Hint, you may want to decompile the app and look through the code for that. So let's remove the instructions. And now let's go back to our Intro to Android Security version 2.1.0. And we're going to go to the reverse engineering portion or menu. And we're going to go to JADX GUI, which is a GUI to look at the JADX application or command. And so we're going to do this to reverse engineer the app, because we need to manipulate the URI in such a way that we can change the locked to unlocked. So we're going to go to the documents because that's where all of the insecure apps are inside of the Intro to Android Security version 2.1.0. We're going to click IG Learner. And now we're going to go to lesson 3 because we're on the 3rd lesson. And I'm going to just extend this. And you see here we have an activity. Now remember, every Android app has a main activity, which is the entry point to the application. And we have this handler activity. So let's go to the handler activity and see what it says. Okay. So we see here, unlock key, crazy URI handler. And if we scroll down and we look at the on create, we see here we have a log, learner, received request for URI, at path. And here we have this if statement, and it says if the path contains crazy URI handler, well, the lock status is set to the unlock string. And remember to look at strings, we can go to resources ASC, res, values, and then strings.xml. And if we see unlock string, unlocked challenge is completed. So we have figured out what we need to do. We need to change the URI to have crazy URI handler in the URI because that will change the locked to unlocked. So let's try it. So I'm going to change this test me to crazy URI handler. And now I'm going to say request URI. And click and see what happens. And yay, we have unlocked the challenge. So that was pretty straightforward. So we really didn't have to do much. And the reason for that is, again, there were 2 files. It was kind of how it was set up. It kind of gave the answer away because if you notice for 1 and 2, there's just one activity. But for lesson 3, there are 2 activities. So the lesson 3 activity is the main activity here, and it really doesn't give us much. So it shows us that the web view is Android asset test.html. So that's what it was in the beginning. And it really doesn't show us much in the main activity. But we have this handler activity. And looking at this handler activity, we see, we have the unlock string, unlock key string, which is crazy URI handler. And we see this if statement, and it's like, hey, if the URI contains crazy URI handler, display the unlocked, which means we have solved the challenge. So again, just to keep reiterating, don't have sensitive information in your code because, as you can see, we can easily decompile, reverse engineer, look at the source code, and we can find secrets. This is something that's very that bug bounty hunters do, especially with apps, because you have developers and they're like, oh, I have my app and I'm going to put this secret in here because no one is going to actually decompile and reverse engineer my app. That's not the case. If you put sensitive information in there, someone is going to decompile the app, especially with Android apps. It's so easy to do. So how I like to think of it is, if it's something you don't want anyone to find, don't put it in your source code. Have it in a separate entity, a separate location that is, that has, where it's protected. Don't just have it out in the open. Because, for instance, even though this unlock key is crazy URI handler, this also could have been in real life. This could have been, an AWS bucket, a username and password, that has, been there, keys, things of that nature, like really sensitive data for an application. So again, if it's a secret that you do not want any and everyone to have, do not put it in your source code. So, I hope that you have learned something in this video, and I can't wait to see you next Monday in Mobile Sec Mondays, where we will look at Challenge 4 inside the IG Learner app. Have a good day. Bye.